It didn't matter. The house was gone. The camels were gone. The money was gone. Everything was gone. See, you can accumulate as much wealth in this world that you want to accumulate. You can do whatever in this world you want to do. You can choose. God gave us free will. We can choose how we want to live. We can choose whether we want to be evil or good, or we can choose whether we want to be rich or poor. You know, you can go out and rob a bank, or you can play the stock market, or you can marry a rich person. You know, you can find ways to make money. There's always ways to make money. And you can choose that lifestyle if that's what you want. Or you can be diseased and not be able to choose. You can be like Lazarus and you can be afflicted by the things of this world. And you can beg and plead with people to help you out. But when you die, when you close your eyes in this world, when Ron Reagan Jr. passes away, he's going to close his eyes in this world saying, I'm not afraid of burning in hell. And suddenly he's going to stand face to face with the one who made him. And then it's too late. Then it's too late. See, you might think that you can play with your soul right now. You can play with your soul. You can be the guy standing on the side of the big cruise ship tossing an expensive diamond over the ocean just one time after another and catching it and just keeping it going until finally it slips through your fingers and it falls into the water. The water is your life. The water is eternity. The diamond is your soul. And you're standing there tossing it, playing with it. Do I make that turn now? Do I have faith that I'm going to catch this thing every time I throw it? You know, you can play with it. But when it falls into eternity, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing. And that's what happened here. It came to pass that the beggar died. And he was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. Now, we all know from the Old Testament that Abraham's bosom was the place where the followers of God went when they passed away. The rich man also died, and he was buried. So basically, Lazarus died, the beggar died, and it doesn't say anything about them burying him. In other words, he basically just rotted where he fell. And the rich man was buried. But the rich man probably got the funeral, and he got the eulogy, and he got the fancy send-off and all that good stuff. You know, that's why I tell people, I don't care how you send me off. Just send me off. I'm not here anyway. I'm gone. I'm out of here. You know? But he got the fancy send-off. In verse 23, in hell he lifted up his eyes. See, what I'm telling you here is not something to take lightly. It's not something to laugh at. It's not something to play with, so to speak. This is your eternity. And we don't know when our eternity is going to start. Friends, I've known people that died younger than me. And I've known people that have died older than me. We don't know when our eternity is going to begin. You don't know when you open your eyes in the morning if you're going to close them at night. Or if something's going to happen along the way that you're going to close them and you're going to be face to face with God that day. We don't know when that trumpet's going to sound. We don't know when the eastern sky is going to split wide open and Jesus is going to come back. We don't have a clue. We're not supposed to have a clue. If we had a clue, we still probably would wait till the last second. Wait a minute, the trumpet's sounding. Hold on. I'm going to get saved now. That would be that's how most of us would do it. That's how most of us would do it. But see, you're playing a game with your soul. And you're tossing it up in the air, just like this fella here that we just saw in that commercial. He's playing a game with his soul, and that game is deadly. That game is going to send him to hell. He's not afraid of burning there. Well, I bet he's going to be afraid when he sees it. I bet he'll be afraid when he stands before Jesus and Jesus says, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." Is he going to stand and look Jesus in the eyes and go, "I'm not afraid of burning in hell"? No. No, he's going to bow the knee and his tongue's going to confess that Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of God the Father. At which point he will be cast into the lake of fire. At which point that will happen. But the rich man, he lifted up his eyes and he was being in torment. Now we know a couple things about hell from this passage. He's in torment. He's being tormented. It's not a pleasure dome. There are no parties. There's not going to be drinking and dancing and whining and having a great time in the pits of hell. That's not going to happen. See, I saw a stupid video one time that said somebody had just passed away, and they said, "Oh, when he gets here, it's going to be a party." No. See, let me tell you something. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing people he didn't exist. And the greatest trick he can pull on mankind is to convince you that he is the way and that he's going to give you everything you want. But let me tell you something. The devil doesn't have the authority to give you jack. The devil doesn't have the authority to give you anything. All the devil has the authority to do is to deceive you. And that's exactly what he does. And he deceives millions by the day, telling them, "Oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad," but it is. You're going to be tormented for eternity. This man is being tormented. And it says he is. And he sees Abraham afar off. And he sees Lazarus in his bosom. And he cries out. Now, does this mean that people in hell can see a little glimpse of heaven? I imagine that would be the biggest torment of all, wouldn't it? That'd be the biggest torment of all. You are in a place where you are constantly being tormented. And I can't tell you what kind of things go on down there. I wouldn't want to find out. That's why I gave my soul to Christ. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's going on. I have no clue, and I don't want one. But he sees Abraham far off, and he cries, and he says, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me. And send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue." Just the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue. For I am tormented in this flame. For those of you that don't believe hell is hot, guess what? You're going for a rude awakening, because it is. It's slightly warm down there. They got the thermostat cranked up. And it ain't going to be pretty. And we're not talking about 90 to 100 degree heat like we get here in the summertime. No, we're talking about flames, people. We're talking about flames that are licking your flesh for your entire eternity. We're not just talking about you're going to get a little bit of comfort. No, you don't get no comfort. There's no comfort in hell. There's absolutely no comfort there at all. The man said, "Have mercy on me." Sent Lazarus that he could dip his finger in the water and he could cool my tongue, for I am tormented. I am tormented in this flame. Just a little dab of water, just a little bit. And Abraham says, "Son, you remember in your lifetime that you got the good things? And likewise, Lazarus got evil things. But now, he's comforted, and you're tormented. Because instead of worrying about the things of God, instead of worrying about your soul and where it's going to end up, instead of giving your heart to Jesus, you chose to not do it. You chose to not do it. You chose to take that diamond over the ocean and just keep tossing it up in the air. You weren't afraid of burning in hell. I'm not scared of hell. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of burning. And now you're burning. You got your reward. Your reward was on earth. Now you get to face the end. And let me tell you something, folks. Once again, 4,200 world religions, and only one guarantees that you're either going to spend eternity in paradise or you're going to spend eternity in fire. Think about that for a minute. And let me tell you something else. If I spend the rest of my life preaching Jesus, and I get to the end of it, and it ain't real, what have I lost? I'm either going to fade to black, become empty, be reincarnated as something. I might come back as a house cat. I might come back as a little fly on the wall. You never know. But if I don't preach Jesus, if I don't give my life to Christ, if I don't serve God, then I get to heaven and I get to the end and I find out it's real. I lose eternity. I lose eternity. I'm being thrown in the fire. You know what? I would rather stand here like a lunatic and rave and talk about God than I ever had burned. Think about it. What have you got to lose? You got it all to lose if you're gambling with your soul. All of it. All of it. He said, you remember in your lifetime you received the good things, and likewise Lazarus received evil things. But he's comforted, and you're tormented. And beside all this, between us and you, there's a great gulf. In other words, I can't get to you, you can't get to me, because it's not meant to be that way. It's not meant to be that way. I can't come there, you can't come here. That's how it works. But the man says, fine, I pray you therefore, Father, that you would send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, and he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. And Abraham responds by saying, they have Moses, and they have the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, Father Abraham, if one went in unto them from the dead, they'll repent. And he said unto him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Christ rose from the dead. On the day we celebrate, we call Easter. Christ rose from the dead. He rose from the dead so that you could spend eternity with him, so that your soul would not perish, so that you would not perish, so that you would not have to be tormented and cast into flames. And yet you see people saying, I am not afraid of burning in hell. I'm not scared. I'm not going to take the gift that God has given me and allow me to spend eternal life with him. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to live the way I want to live here. I'm going to receive my reward on this planet, and then when it's all said and done, that guy right there is going to be cast in the fire. And friend, the fire is real. Hell is very, very real. Very real. There's no comfort. There's no light. There's just constant torment and pain. Jesus gave us a way to avoid all that. But instead of taking his gift of salvation and giving our hearts to him, some of us choose to deny, to run down, to try to block, to try to get rid of, to try to attack. They just try to push Christ out of everything, saying that he's a fake man in the sky, or he's not real, he never existed. Well, folks, there's historical evidence, and you want to throw science out here at me, there's historical evidence that Jesus Christ lived. There is historical evidence. There is a tomb in Jerusalem right now that's empty, and it'll never be full again. That's the one Jesus Christ walked out of. In the end, the choice is yours. In the end, the choice is yours. Sounds like Mr. Ron Reagan's made his choice. Sounds like